So you can tell us your name and who you work for and what brought you here to the forum.
Okay. My name is Mike Brubaker, and I work for the Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium. And I work with the Center for Climate and Health. And so we're a statewide tribal organization, and we're trying to help understand climate impacts in Alaska and the effects on communities. And I think the thing that brought me here was an opportunity to sit down with the neighbors in Canada in particular, but also tribal groups across the country, and begin to together tackle some really important questions, which all starts with making some friends and relationships. But to begin talking about climate change.
What's your takeaway from this event so far? What kind of things have you benefited from hearing?
Well, I think the takeaway, one really big takeaway is at these kinds of meetings a few years ago, there was a different tense that I was hearing outside of the Arctic, outside of the North, and the tense was sort of future. This will be an issue. This is something we need to plan for. And now I'm hearing a lot more of is, the present tense. And so that, to me, that means that it's just broadening to being more than just a northern impact. And the other thing is that learning about all of the subtle ways to apply traditional knowledge to understand the way things are supposed to be, and the opportunity that as knowledge keepers that Native people have all across the continent to be centers for understanding and centers for educating and adapting, because somebody has to really understand the nuances of the environment in order to be able to really understand what's being changed and whether that's good or bad, what it means.
So one thing that EPA is going to be devoting some resources towards in the coming years is trying to integrate this tribal ecological knowledge or traditional ecological knowledge and the Western way of doing things. And I know you've done some work with gathering information, establishing networks. So that's obviously a big part of the work that we'll be doing, kind of establishing communication and sharing knowledge with one another. Can you talk a little bit about what you've seen that has worked to make that happen and what doesn't?
I think what works is talking about real events in real places and hearing the voices of people who are experiencing that. I think the conversation at the high altitude is really important for science and understanding. It's not very persuasive, though, and not that persuasion is all that necessary, because if you go places that are being impacted, people know it, they see it. The what is right in front of them, the what is changing, and the so what is even more important. And so I think what's working is providing tools that people can use to share their local knowledge and their traditional knowledge, and use that to guide those of us who are operating at a level of like looking at the big picture, the regional level, the national level. Let the real events that are happening guide what's a priority and what kinds of actions we should be taking. I think that's what's working.
That's great. And have you had success using online communications to do that, or is it more effective to do in person?
Well, yes, I think both. And I think, I mean, I'm coming from Alaska. There's just big distances, and so we're benefiting from improving technology. I mean, at the end of the day, someone has to tell you a story about what's really going on. But the technology helps, and one of the greatest assets I think we have right now is that capacity has been built in tribal governments to understand and to share and to communicate. And so, all the pieces are really there for, some broader dialogue and networking on environmental issues and environmental effects. And I think it's by building that capacity, it's allowing us to do it right now.
Do you have any questions, Patrick?
Well, that's fantastic.
All right.
Okay, good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.